Jesus continues to speak to his disciples about the return of the Son of Man. In 24:36, Jesus told them that not even the Son knows when that day or hour is. He then gave 3 illustrations, one about Noah's generation, another about 2 women grinding meal, and another about a thief in the night. He emphasizes again in verses 42 and 44 that the time of the return is unknown and unexpected. Then comes 3 parables which focus on behavior in the light of this uncertainty. Each parable has some reference to delay. In 24:48, the wicked slave says his master is delayed. In 25:5, likewise, the bridegroom is delayed. And in verse 19, the master of the slaves is a long time in coming. When it comes to figuring out who represents who in Jesus' parables, sometimes the representation is fairly simple and complete, and other times it is vague, and only certain aspects represent God or Jesus. For example, in the parable of the wicked tenants in 21:33-41, it is quite straightforward to identify the planter of the vineyard as God and his son as Jesus. But when Jesus likens the return of the Son of Man to a thief in the night, what is the similarity? Is Jesus a thief? No, but the similarity is a situation the owner of the house is in. He is aware that a thief might come, but he does not know when, and so how to prepare. So the Son of Man is like a thief, but we have to think about in what way. There are other parables which present this challenge. The parable of the talents has a master who hands out rewards. As God has been referred to a number of times in Matthew's Gospel as the one who hands out rewards, identifying him with this master is appropriate. But there are aspects to the reputation of the master which make this uncomfortable. So we must refine our understanding of how this parabolic figure is intended to represent God. Again, the focus is not on the master, as it was not on the thief, but the predicament and reactions of the house owner or the slaves. Also, at times, the principle of how much more, the kal v'homer, is at play. This means that if a flawed human master will act in such a manner, we can expect a much greater version with God. That is, if a slave should be responsible to a master, however harsh, and will be rewarded or punished accordingly, how much more should a disciple be diligent with the task given to them from a good and loving Father, who will reward and punish both generously and exactly? The parables which are about the delay and unknown return of Jesus and the necessity of preparation for that moment conclude with the parable of the talents. The final parable, if it is a parable, is about the sheep and the goats. This pictures the judgment upon the return of the Son of Man, who is also called the King. The idea of time and delay is absent. Now the focus is not on when, but on what will happen at that time. In this scene, we have the only mention of the destruction of Satan and his angels outside of the book of Revelation. One of the characteristics of Matthew's Gospel is the expectation of division at the judgment. We have seen this repeatedly, where the Son of Man returns, sends out his angels, and divides those which are his own from those which are not. Rewards and punishments follow accordingly. This action of judgment is perhaps principally an act of revelation. If it has not been possible to know who truly belongs to God, this final judgment will reveal it once and for all. And as we have seen all along, even from the preaching of John the Baptist, it is the fruit worthy of repentance which is the proof of this relationship. This is not meant to contradict the doctrine of grace, of being saved by faith. But in Matthew's Gospel, the emphasis is on the reality of that salvation. Does it produce inner change? Does the tree bear good fruit? Does the mouth bring out of it the good stored up inside? What we have seen of Jesus from the last few chapters is startling, challenging, and perhaps overwhelming. But that is as it should be. The great moment of judgment is here, when, in love for the whole world, the Son of Man will serve instead of being served. The price of sin is extreme. The Son of Man, but God is willing to pay it for those who owe it. Jesus is not a life coach. He has not come to give us our best life. He has come to turn our heads away from the mirror and towards the throne. Jesus tells the truth relentlessly, without any concern for the reaction. He is here to save the world, but the world must understand it needs saving.